When my dad was dying in 2010, he decided he was going to record his journey through cassette tapes.
Again, this is tape 2, and it is being made on November 11th, Armistice Day, 2010. I'm Larry. I wanted to test this tape and make sure it's working, and then we will continue with the discussion I was having, documenting what's going on as I'm leaving this life. Anybody can listen to these tapes. You can hear it from me firsthand as it's being recorded, as I'm experiencing it. And that's the science in me, trying to use a scientific approach to answer some questions that are fundamental in everybody's mind.
Pictures of my dad and me and home videos and good stories about him. The stuff that I have here right now is the stuff that I've been searching for this whole time to connect with my dad. My dad was born in 1945 in a little town in Minnesota called Sunburg. Sunburg is a place where you grow up there and you farm, and that's it. That's your whole life. He did not want to farm. He wanted to be in the military, and so he left Minnesota and he joined the Air Force. So he ends up out here and he ends up meeting my mom.
When I first met him, I think the first thing that attracted me to him was his hair. I like straight black hair.
Cheryl and I got married in 1966, and I went on to go to school at UNLV. And I got to tell you, I really enjoyed school at UNLV at that time.
After 17 years, I finally was able to have children.
I have a lot of really strong memories, I would say. Memories of hunting and camping and driving a golf cart around UNLV when it was mostly dirt.
He taught me when you shake somebody's hand, you better be firm and you better look them in the eye, because that's what a man does. And a man doesn't crawl before anybody, but also being humble too.
Over the last few years, Larry had gotten sort of out of control, and he became bigger than life, even to himself. He was very adamant about being an atheist, and he would actually fight with some of his students. And I decided that I did not want to raise my children in that atmosphere. And I think that caused him to have so much anger, and we were not friends. I think it would have been wonderful if we could have been. There was just too much resentment.
All right, will you do a little mic check for me, Suzanne?
Okay.
Oh, all right, cool.
All right, good. I had met him when he was a professor at the university, and I was still a student. I don't know, it just kind of happened. We talked, and things just led to other things. He was an all-around good guy. We settled on moving back to Minnesota. Things were good for a while. I was on my way back to work, and he called on my cell phone, and he said he just found out.
They ran the CAT scan, and they came back and told me that I had lung cancer, and it was terminal and inoperable. Consequently, one way or the other, I've got less than a year to live. Well, I opted not to do chemotherapy or radiation. I decided that I'm going to be productive as best I can be as a scientist for the rest of my time.
It was this drive that inspired him to record the last days of his life.
We're doing this little experiment through my life focus list, which changes every day. I'm sufficient mind and body. Felt like I was suffocating. It's 9:53. Looks like the container is practically full. Is that right? I sure wish I could have understood him better when I was alive.
There's a sense of just wanting to document every little thing, everything. Medicine that he was taking, whether he was having bowel movements.
My eyesight is starting to fade, make a note of that. And I'm feeling a little weaker.
He was doing it just to document and record in a very granular, methodical, organized manner.
It's swelling in my chest, so the lungs are filling. I don't know how much longer it's going to be, but my vision has started to fade.
He wanted to talk to me, and we did. We talked. And he apologized. He knew a lot of the things that he had done were really unfair.
The communication that we had at all was outright hostile at times. And it always, of course, bothered me because I was still in love with Cheryl. And I told her so when she called that day. And she believed me, and she says, well, Larry, I still love you too. The first time I talked to Cheryl in so many years.
All of the things that you go through, when you've truly been in love, you realize that you never lose that love. You feel like you hate them, but there's always been and always will be that love. He also rediscovered his faith.
I lost my faith 50 years ago. I hadn't been to communion in that length of time since I was a teenager. If the Lord can reclaim me, who has had a, quite frankly, at times a hedonistic life, then, by God, he can reclaim anybody.
So when did you guys stop recording the tapes?
When it was getting really hard for your dad to talk. He was having trouble bleeding. You know, he pretty much recorded everything. And, there really wasn't much left to say. It was the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I knew it was getting close based on the signs that the hospice nurse had told me to look for. And your dad knew it was getting close. And your dad was really, really struggling to breathe. And I grabbed him by the face and I turned his head so he could look at me. And I told him that I loved him to death, but that he was a stubborn son of a bitch and he needed to let go. That he didn't need to put himself through that anymore. That he had done everything he could. And these boys were good. And they were going to be fine. And it was time for him to relax. And he just kind of smiled and said, I know. And I crawled into the hospital bed with your dad and I just kind of laid by him. He kind of squeezed my hand, and that was it.
I just wish I could hug him one more time.
You and me both.
Just wish he could see my boys.
Yeah, I do too. He'd be proud of them. He'd be tickled to death.
Every year on Thanksgiving, which is the day he passed away, I would listen to the one tape that I had. And it's of a phone call of me and him.
I am feeling very tired tonight, and I'm not going to be able to talk long. But I wanted you to know how much I love you and how much you mean to me. And with that, I'm going to say good night again, Brian, and goodbye. Well, I love you so much too, and I want you to know that there's no end of the love I have for you. We have a lasting, ever-growing feeling of deep, deep connection and commitment to each other.
And that connection that I felt through listening to that tape every year, it was like still having him around. A few years before my dad died, I got to share something with my dad. It was this song by the Night Watchman.
No one knows who gave the orders. No one asks about the crime. No one looks behind the curtain. No one questions why. The only time we've got is right about now. I cross my heart. I take the vow.
It's so special to me because it's something that I was able to give to my dad, and he gave it back to me in the recordings. I know he's been with me even though he's gone from the physical earth. I know that he was at my wedding and that he had a hand in picking the woman that I ended up marrying. And I love him very much. And I wish I could have showed him that love that I have for him now while he was here.
About the crime, no one looks behind the curtain, and no one questions why. The only time we got is right about now. I cross my heart, I take the vow, I'll never turn, I'll never bend. I'm with you now until the end.